Our guest speaker today, I'm sure everybody knows, is Cliff Cole. And we're always glad when Cliff comes. We always have a good crowd show up when Cliff comes. And we enjoy his presentation, and it's nice to hear what's going on with the school system. And he's got a lot to talk about this week. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Cliff. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to come out today, and with our three commissioners in the room, I would just like to say thank you for your support, from Sheriff's Office to the DOT, the permitting. I think we have a great relationship with the county, and Chairman Austin and I try to meet monthly just to talk about things that are going on in the school district and the county, and how we can work together as a group. So I'd like to say thank you for your support, for being here today. Also like to thank our two board members for being here today. I told Ms. Cobb they make me nervous when they show up. People ask me, who's my boss? I said, well, technically I have 7 of them. So I have 2 of them here today, but thank you for being here. And
he wants a raise. He's going to make it.
We keep him happy.
You heard me last year talk about how wonderful our board is, and when the accreditation group was in, that was one of the biggest compliments was the board and how they operate. So I'd like to say thank them for their support and always doing what's best for the students of Paulding County. As always, I'd like to start with our vision statement, which is to provide a safe, healthy, supportive environment focused on learning and committed to high academic achievement. Through the shared responsibility of all stakeholders, students will be prepared as lifelong learners and as participating, contributing members of our dynamic and diverse community. Also, I think last year when I was here, I was telling you that we were looking at revising our vision and mission statement. We did go back, made some minor tweaks to our mission statement. The vision statement we kept the same. Last year when I was here, basically the mission statement was to prepare all students for the 21st century. We tweaked it over the summer, basically tried to bring it a little more into today's time. We realized the 21st century was somewhat outdated, and today and tomorrow will always exist, so our mission statement is more timeless. Again, it's to prepare students for today and tomorrow, and again, we take our mission statement very serious because our student success is incredibly important to what we do. We also revamped our logo. I think we've gone through rebranding. We wanted to bring a fresh look to the school district. And as you look at the logo, I see an outer circle, which basically reflects continuous learning. And that's not only for our students, but for our staff as well. You'll notice a compass in the background. Compass is for direction. See a student, a graduate there in the middle. And of course, that is to remind us of our ultimate goal, which is graduation for 100% of our students. Established 1872, it took a little effort to figure out when the school district was actually established, but based on our understanding, that was the year the General Assembly established the Paulding County School District, was 1872. And then, of course, the banner there reflects our mission statement for success today and tomorrow. So we're really excited about the new look and moving forward with it. The logo was actually, we had a competition among students back in May, and we had 2 students that submitted similar logos. So we took those 2 logos and redesigned it using the concept of both of those students and developed this one. And we recognized those students at a board meeting a month or so ago. Moving on to some of the district facts. Our projected enrollment for this year was 28,563 students. Current enrollment K-12 is 28,549. We currently have approximately 137 pre-K students with a total pre-K enrollment of 28,686. So we're right at our projection. That FY16 projection is actually for K-12 The pre-K in Paulding County is our special needs students. So that number will grow through the year. We typically will start our pre-K with under 100 students, but over the school year, that number will actually grow to over 200 students. So the student qualifies for the pre-K. Once they turn 3, they can enter into the pre-K program. So at any point during the year they turn 3, they can enter the program. We have approximately 3,300 students. That number's a little smaller than what you would have seen last year, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Our general operating budget this year is approximately $232.5 million. Just some construction updates. This summer we completed paint and flooring at Panther and Dobbins. Nebo and Allgood Elementary received new ceilings and new gym lighting. We did a complete renovation at the freshman academy at Paulding County High School that included HVAC, new lights, carpet, ceiling tiles. We also did complete renovations at Northside and Shelton Elementary. Again, it was HVAC, ceiling tile, lighting, paint, and carpet. Paulding County High School, we're still in the process of renovating the main building, and that project should be complete after the students will move back into that building after the fall break in September. Have a large addition going on at Shelton. Have a 38 classroom addition. If you are up in that area, if you're looking at the school, you'll see the construction on the right side of the building. Currently have a modular unit out back. That modular unit will go away. We anticipate opening the new school in the fall of 16. And again, it is 38 classroom addition, a new cafeteria, new art and music. So we're really excited about that school and the growth that we have up there. Also, we completed park projects at Paulding County High School and East Paulding High School over the summer. The fields are complete. We're still in the process of completing the tracks, working around the football season to complete the tracks. So all 5 of our high schools now have turf. We're excited. It's a great opportunity for our students especially with our neighboring schools all having turf. And if you haven't been out to see them, it just makes a tremendous difference, and the whole facility is just absolutely beautiful. We talked about the budget. The goal from day one, from several years ago, was to maintain our 0 furlough days for our staff, and we have done that. We actually were positioned to give a 2% across the board pay raise to all staff members. We also have been competing with the neighboring counties for substitute teachers, so we've had a shortage of substitute teachers over the last couple of years. And the feedback we were hearing was because they can go across the line and make $15, $20 more a day. So we've incorporated a pay increase for our substitutes. We've also reduced the class size district average across the board by 2.5 students. Like I said, that's a district average. We added 102 teachers or parapro positions. When I mentioned that number earlier about staff, we also, over the summer, beginning July 1, we outsourced our custodial staff to Aramark. That move saved the district approximately $1.8 million a year. So those employees were offered the opportunity to stay with the district with the same package that they currently have, the same number of days, etc. But again, that allowed us to add another approximately 30 teachers by outsourcing custodians. And really the philosophy behind it was that Aramark, their profession, their business, their core business is cleaning facilities. Our core business is educating students. So again, they took over on July 1. We've had a pretty good transition. It will continue to transition over the next couple of months. Safety and security is always a priority. We had the opportunity to add 5 additional school resource officers, which had been cut a few years ago. So every middle school and high school now has a school resource officer. You know, as you know, with the things that are going on in our society today, we felt like that was a very important aspect. We replaced our visitor management software. We've also increased our video surveillance equipment. Technology has been a focus for the last couple of years, especially after our last accreditation visit. FY13, we've increased our technology budget by 70%. We've doubled the KSU I Teach collaboration, and basically we have a partnership with KSU where they have an instructor that comes out and works with teachers. We have representatives from each school. Last year we had one group, like I said, a representative from each school that was working with our technology coordinator and the teacher from KSU, and basically they were introduced to new software, how to integrate that into the classroom and using that effectively for their instruction. They were also honored by District Administration Magazine as or the district was, as a district of distinction. And basically that award was given to districts that demonstrated excellence in innovative approaches and ideas in regards to technology. So I was real proud of that group and what they were doing. We actually have doubled the tech gigs this year. I think we're working on 3, is that right? Three groups going through, where last year we had 1. We $2.3 million in computer and projector refresh. We've also added $570,000 in wireless access and networks. Just looking at that, we've installed over the last year over 700 wireless access points throughout the school. So pretty much anywhere in school now, by the end of the year, you should have wireless capability. When we look at our data center equipment, that's our network, firewalls, content filter, we focused on the stabilization of our network because we were having issues with it going down quite a bit. We've done application upgrades to our financial HR payroll systems, maintenance system, transportation system. I mentioned the visitor management system earlier, and then also for some of our professional learning online as well. We're in the process of refreshing our computers, approximately 20% every year. We currently have over 12,000 computers in the districts, and they've all been upgraded to the Windows 7 platform. And then, as I mentioned, the projector refresh will begin in the fall. So a lot going on with technology. I often told some of our leadership team, I have a teachers advisory group that I meet with quarterly. And in the spring, the last meeting I had with them, I think for the first time in 3 years, I did not have an issue to come up about technology. So it just tells you the progress that we've made over the last few years with technology. Some of the school-based initiatives have a new learning management system, and that's basically the online support for our students. Saw an issue with some of the secretary bookkeepers not working a full day, 7.5-hour days, so increased their time to a full day. Then also we increased our textbook budget by 55% to approximately $1.7 million in textbooks. You hear so often students not going home and saying they don't have textbooks. And during the years it was difficult, we did hold off and buy textbooks. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction there. Moving along, we are now considered a strategic waiver school system, formerly IE Squared. And basically, state law has said that by July 1, every school needs to make a designation moving forward, whether they want to continue to be what they call status quo, which means you still operated under all the state guidelines, rules, policies. You could operate as an investment in education, IE Squared, which is now the strategic waiver school system, or you could go as a charter system. The district, after looking at all 3 options, selected to go with the IE Squared, like I said, the strategic waiver school system. And basically, what is a strategic waiver school system? Basically you enter into a contract with the state in order to receive some freedom from the specific state rules and laws in return for increased academic accountability. And basically the contract has 2 parts, academic and other performance targets to which the school district's committed. So we're committed to academic performance. And then also you had to commit to some waivers that the state grants. And several of these waivers we have used in the past, so it just felt like it's a natural fit. I've been asked, why didn't you select charter? And just to be honest with you, the biggest difference between a charter system and a strategic strategic waiver system is if your charter, each school or school district actually has a governing board. We have our Board of Education, so you have a governing board. And the concern is, to be honest with you, is just with our local school councils, we have difficulty filling those local school council seats. I will tell you, we will have a stakeholders meeting, and I know Mr. Phillips was at the last one. I think we had six people at it, and we send out emails, put it on the web. So that was the biggest concern of going charter, was just that we were concerned that we didn't have the parental input and parental support that we needed to go charter. So we feel like that the strategic waiver system was a good choice for us. Again, this is some of the rationale, the autonomy of going with the strategic waiver system, the flexibility to innovate away from some state waivers, again, freedom from state controls, and then again, the accountability issue. The contract is for 7 years, basically 5 years of accountability that are used this year as a baseline data, and then the accountability, the measures will start in the 16-17 school year and go through 2021-22. When we looked at the waivers, the state required that you include these 4 waivers. 1 is class size requirement, 2 expenditures and controls, 3 certification requirements, and then 4 the salary schedule requirements. And actually, we over the past several years, at one time or other, have utilized these waivers from the state. At that point, we had to file an application with the state, request the waiver, and then they approved them. Going to the strategic waiver system, this is part of our application. If you look at class size, you heard me say that we've tried to reduce our class sizes. We've had a waiver for several years that allows us to go 5 students above the maximum class size. We're back down to close to where the state maximum class sizes are, or are requested. However, we can, with the waiver, go above those class sizes. Now, one of the issues that we've dealt with, especially over the past several years, is one of the laws that the state of Georgia has, state school board, is if you go over a maximum class size at any point during the school year, you basically have to add a teacher. So, as you can imagine, being a kindergarten student and you've been one teacher for 5 months, they go over 1 student in their class size, and then you have to come in and divide that class up, and we just don't feel like that's what is best for our students. So that would help them in that area. Again, we continue to grow through the year. Certification requirements is another relief that we have. If you have someone that just say that comes in from the science field, but they don't have the training education degree. However, we can work through that, and if they have the experience and the knowledge, then we can actually put them in some of the classes and waive some of the certification issues. Salary schedule requirements, again, those were some that we've waived in the past, because when we had to do furlough days or make some cuts, we actually shortened the contract of work days for all of our employees. And again, we had to get a waiver from the state to do that. Cannot waive any waivers from federal, and basically, that is mostly special ed rules there. Another exciting piece, I don't know how many of you heard about Move On When Ready. This is basically a new dual enrollment program that allows high school students the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school, but it also streamlines some of the other programs, and the funding source comes from the Georgia Student Finance Commission. The program was signed into law on April 30th. It went into effect July 1. A little bit more about Move On When Ready. It basically will allow a student to get their high school diploma and also be working toward a degree at a technical or a junior college as well. So a student can actually graduate high school with their certificate, and then also a possibility to have a certification from a technical school or an associate's degree. There are certain criteria that they have to follow. Basically, the high school student, they're required to complete the courses that are on the Georgia Department of Education course list. They have to enroll, of course, in the participating post-secondary institution. But again, they can earn a associate's degree, technical diploma, or again, a certificate in a pathway. So I think this is an exciting time for students. Now, it's not for every student, but there are certain students that will move along there. Students that are eligible to participate are students of 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, or any student that's in a home study program as well. Even our students now, students coming out of middle school in our county, and I know as well in other counties, actually can enter high school with up to 3 high school credits before they ever enter into high school. So something that we've been working toward, but I think it's a great opportunity for students. Again, the students must meet the dual enrollment requirements set by the post-secondary institution. The other nice thing from a student's perspective is they can still participate in all the activities of the high school. You know, they can be in the clubs, they can be in extracurricular sports and so forth. And the bottom bullet point there is the nice part. Basically, students can do this for free. It's actually, the fees are funded through the state appropriations. So it's a great opportunity, not only as a parent, but for these students that wish to utilize it. I want to talk a little bit about innovation grant. We shared this information with our board, I guess Tuesday. I'm trying to think when it was. We've basically, second phase of a grant, $750,000 for blended learning. We talked about blended learning, some of that's online, some of it's the students sitting in their classroom. Will be housed at the New Hope Learning Center and will be called the Paulding Virtual Academy. We feel like this is an opportunity for students that possibly maybe coming from a homeschool setting to come in and take some online classes or work with their students. Again, it's an emphasis on career skill building and building post-secondary connections for our students. Currently, New Hope Learning Center currently basically house students that have had discipline issues. So we're expanding that program out, offered to any students. It can be students lacking credit for graduation. You have students that the traditional high school just doesn't work for them. So it'll be the non-traditional students. And then students who need a flexibility, and again, from the non-instructional. And, it may be a situation where a student has to work to support their family. It may be a student that, maybe a young mom. So it'll be a great opportunity for them. The funds from the grant would be used to purchase needed technology, facility renovations, online training for our teachers, including the online teaching endorsement, and then purchase online content, which is more classes for the students. We will submit this grant in September, and then the district will be notified in October of the grant proposal if it's been accepted. So those are some exciting things that are going on. You may have seen in the news this week the ACT scores came out. I think they were made public yesterday. Just from the district's perspective, the number of students tested in the ACT, the SAT will come out later, has increased from 5 years ago from a little over 400 to almost 600. Our score in all 4 content areas, English, math, reading, and science, and the composite score increased from 2014 to 2015. It's actually the score in the content area and the composite area is actually the highest it's been in the previous 5 years of Paulding County. We're still scoring below the state, which we'll continue to work on. The gap between the state average and the Paulding County School District has decreased in both content areas and composite scores. So, but we're still working in that direction. I typically will give you an update on how our students are performing within. We do not, because of the changes from CRCTs to the milestones and some of the online testing, we actually will not get those scores till sometime in October. So at that point, we will be able to go back and assess where we are. I'll tell you that we have a wonderful group of teachers, a wonderful group of administrators. If you've kept up with us, we continue to see growth academically. There's a lot going on in education in general, a lot of changes through the year. But I will tell you, I feel very confident in the staff that we have. I'm very proud of the accomplishments, not only our teachers and our support personnel have made, but and also, like I said, our administrators have done a great job. They're under a tremendous amount of pressure every day, and they just continue to amaze me with the job that they do. Wanted to mention, we talked about the reality fairs last year, and if you remember, the reality fairs are held at each high school. And if you've never participated, basically the child will get a salary. They basically get a living status. You know, they'll get a salary that they have to live off of, and then they're told they're married or they may be divorced. They have 3 kids. They have a car payment, house payment, just different scenarios, and they have to make that budget work. So we always need volunteers for our reality fairs. There are the dates there for the reality fairs. You should be able to go online, and if not, contact the high school if you're interested in volunteers. We would love to have you there. September 12th is another important day. It's our Extreme Family Field Day with our Education Foundation, and I want to ask our Executive Director for the Foundation, Jim McGish, to come up, and I know Jim just gets fired up when he talks about it. So while Jim's coming up, I failed to mention the important people that work with me on a daily basis. Suzanne Willie's our Director of Communications. Steve Barnett is our Chief Financial Officer, and Brian Otot is our Associate Director. And of course, same thing, you know, I have a great staff. You know, the old saying goes, you know, you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are, and that's what I've done. So we've got a great staff. So, Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Cliff. I don't know about you, but I've got 3 children in the school system, and I am very proud of the steps that we're making. Paulding County not only continues to find new and innovative ways to do things, but there's always a shortfall somewhere in funding, and that's what our foundation does. Our foundation exists to provide those funds where normal funding is not an option. We do scholarships. We do about 22 every year, and we also do grants into the school system. So if you think about it for a second, and you think every school, 33 of them, have a chance to submit a grant request for one of the programs that they're doing, $2,500 per school, that's $82,000 worth of requests. And so our job is to find out ways to fund that. We do 3 events a year, and he's right, I do get excited about these because these are supported by our community, supported by our teachers, supported by our school system, so they are pretty cool. Number 1, every year we kick off with our casino night. Casino has become popular. We've been holding it at the airport. Good news is we've outgrown the airport, so we'll be moving it closer this year. I'll be able to announce for sure where that location will be, but go ahead and mark your calendars for that. That's February 27th. And so that'll be the one. Then we follow that right after to recognize all of our wonderful Teachers of the Years and employee staff at our Teacher of the Year luncheon. That happens the first week of May there, where we'll gather our community support, provide some good things for them, and recognize them and have a great lunch there. And then we do our 3rd fundraising activity. We started this last year. It's called Extreme Family Fun Field Day. With that, we do a couple different things. We have vendor booths in our vendor alley. We do obstacle course, which we've had some blessed opportunities to have a structural engineer help us to design and create mobile obstacle courses. So this year we have an increase. Now we have 15 different elements in that. We're going to do a 1-mile run walk, and that's going to be focused on supporting our special needs in our community. So we're going to ask for special needs warriors to come out and walk with us or run with us, and for you to join a team and walk and run with them and then do the obstacle course afterwards. For all of the others, this includes adults and children. We also have our carnival area, which will have over 14 inflatables and rides to be able to enjoy there as well. And I've had several requests that, hey, can adults get on these jumpies? And yes, you can. I have a picture, unfortunately, last year where my kids coached me into the human hamster ball to race them. And it was easy getting in, it wasn't so easy getting out. But, so that's one I'd encourage you to be a part of. We also have performances from our schools and local groups here in the community, where it's karate or dance or cheerleading, chorus groups. They'll also be performing all day on stage. So we encourage you to come out. You can get information on our website at pauldingeducationfoundation.com. It's a full day. It starts at 8 o'clock that morning and goes till 2. And we ask you to bring a chair, bring a blanket, support us by purchasing a ticket, and all these funds will go back into the things that we talked about. Special needs, our grant request from the schools, and that kind of thing. So if you're interested, I think we have 4 vendor spots left now. We have 40 spots that we created this year, which was an increase from last year. And we only have 4 spots left, so if your company wants to do that, I think we've got some spots there. And we're still looking for some sponsors, and then we just want everybody to come out and enjoy the day. So I ask for you to support us in that way so we can continue helping the schools. Cliff, thank you for the chance.
And it's at Watson Government Complex, and again, this is just another opportunity for us to work with the county, and I want to say thank you to Michael Justice for working with us to make this happen as well.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Jim mentioned their website. Our website is www.paulding.k12.ga.us. We also would love for you to like us on Facebook. And what do we do on Twitter, Suzanne? Do they just follow us on Twitter? Okay. Okay, follow us on Twitter. But in closing, and I'm going to put them on the spot, but I didn't know if one of our board members had anything they would like to say or anything to add. So, no?
When you mentioned the 500,000 that I think Julie got us, I think some of that was from grants. We're always looking for those grant opportunities so that we can get the money from elsewhere rather than having to get it all locally. So,
Yes.
and I don't think there were any strings attached to that either, so that's always fine.
And that is, when we look at grants, it's one of the things that we really have to look at is what type of restrictions go along with it. So, but again, thank you for support. As I look out across the room, I see a lot of familiar faces, that are supporting our schools at different events and different times. So, I tell people your school system is only as strong as your community, and I appreciate you, appreciate your support, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Cliff, if you're IE2, can you set a charter school up within that system, or did you have to be a charter system?
You would, you would have to either, now, you could have a separate charter school, but not under I-Square.
You're looking at a new school in the city of
Yeah,
Press.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I get a lot of questions about our next school. We do have next new school. We have property in the Seven Hills Connector for a middle school and a high school. Honestly, I don't anticipate those being built until SPLOST 6, just because of the funding aspect of it. We've pretty much committed SPLOST 5, just in the additions up at Shelton. We have an addition in it for North Paulding High School. You may recall that with the SPLOST, first priority is pay our bond, or to reduce our bond debt. I think, Steve, it's about, SPLOST 5 is about 50%, is that correct? Currently, we're paying about 60% of our SPLOST proceeds go to debt reduction. SPLOST 5, about 50% of that will go to debt reduction. Priority has been renovating schools. Some of our facilities are starting to age, so go back in and do some renovation with HVAC, updating lighting. It's amazing if you haven't been in one of the schools that have been renovated, just the difference with the lighting and the paint and the new floor it makes.
It's my understanding that if at the end of 5 years, the test scores are not rising, that the state can come in and take over the school system. Also, that the teacher evaluations, their evaluations are tied up with those test
It's a
scores.
CCRPR.
Does that affect just their salary or their jobs? And is that mandated down from the state, or is that something that comes
Yeah,
from the county?
it comes from the state. It's, initially, it would impact your salaries. You know, I think, and this goes back to some of the local control being taken away. And I'll just share with you, our principals have gone through some additional training on the interreliability training in basically evaluating teachers. And they're going through this basically because the state has come back and said, you know, the rating is a 1 through 4 for teachers, with 4 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Basically, they've come back and said there are too many people that are getting 3s and 4s. There's not enough 1s and 2s. So that's difficult. You know, when you have someone that is not in your building, does not understand your population, does not understand what's going on in your classroom. As I've said, you know, academically, we've continued to rise. I think that's something that the state is going to have to continue to look at and evaluate. But and as you know, I mean, it causes a lot of stress on our teachers, which, you know, it's not, the profession is not what it used to be, and a lot of the things that go on in education. You know, you're concerned that you're not going to have those quality applicants that are entering the profession, you know, 5, 10 years down the road. Yes, ma'am.
You were talking about in the future about the middle school and the high school out by 7 campus. What population of children do you need to be able to do that? Because I know that I had to, somebody requested something for me, and I called the school district, and right now they have about 528 children that come out of that 7 area to attend schools. So is there a certain population?
You basically, and I don't know the percent, but basically you basically have to be full district-wide. Basically, the state would expect us to redistrict. If we, you know, let's just say that North Paulding High School is over capacity, which they are. East Paulding High School is under capacity. The expectation would be for us to redistrict prior to opening another school, to receive state funding. Now, that doesn't mean that if we had the funding, that we could not go out and build that school without the assistance from the state. But, you know, a new high school now is going to run $60 million.
Well, I think 528 for such an area is a large number anyway.
And that's, you know, when we built Abbey Elementary, we built it extremely large at the time. Up to the ideal capacity is 1,200 students. Shelton will go up to ideal capacity of 1,200 students. Abbey is pushing 1,000 students. Shelton's pushing 1,100 students. Middle school, we seem to be holding okay. High school, like I said, we're doing an addition up there, probably in the next 5 years anyway. And that would be the second edition that we've done in North. So that continues to be the area of growth in the school district as well. However, if you look at our long-term projections, it shows our high school population decreasing 5, 7, 10 years down the road. But again, those are projections based on today's, you know, demographics and economics.
And I know I missed some things, but have they made an announcement who the new principal is out at Herschel Jones?
No, board meeting's on the 8th, so we are interviewing next week. Board meeting is, on the 8th, so it'll be the night of September 8th that we'll make that recommendation. So, and we had a resignation at Paulding County High School as principal, so we moved Craig Wilcox, who has been the principal at Herschel Jones Middle School for the past 8 years, to Paulding County High School. Greg knows the students, and many of those students came through his school, so we look forward to seeing what he can do at Paulding County High School. Yes, sir.
Yes, things sometimes come in over the transom and where I am, and one question that came up was, is there any thought of doing anything like uniforms at this stage? I mean, it's been an issue in the past. I'm just curious.
I will tell you that if you were to talk to most of our administrators, they would tell you they would love uniforms. We are in the process of looking at our student dress code. So it will, we'll be revising it. I don't know that we would specifically be looking at uniforms. You know, I think, like I say, if you read the research on it, I mean, it cuts down on discipline, it cuts down on a lot of the peer pressure, but from a parent's perspective, they don't always go along with it. So I think that's where you get it. And probably students as well. Students would like it. But we are in the process of revising our policy on dress code. But like I said, I don't think we need to the extreme of uniforms.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The students who are in the Move On When Ready program, are they taking additional classes, or are they taking specific classes that count as
Yeah.
toward high school and toward
It
their
will
college?
be, but
Correct.
yes, correct.
And about how many students are enrolled in that?
Right. I don't have a number right now. I will tell you, looking at our students that were dual enrolled from last year, this year, our numbers basically tripled just for the dual enrollment. I think you'll continue to see that number go up. But the number last year, just for the dual enrollment, was small. But like I said, those numbers have tripled. I don't know right off the top of my head.
This one, that's sort of Chattanooga, and it did triple.
Yeah.
Last year was around 150 or better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we expect that number to continue to go up. I think we have a great opportunity here in Paulding County with Chattech and Highlands here, and I often tell parents, I'm sure if you were to talk to Brian has a son that's dual enrolled right now, and I've heard nothing but this positive things. I think Ms. Cobb,
Yeah, my
I think her
daughter's
daughter, so
enrolled.
it is a great opportunity for our students, and like I said, not only for the students, for the parents when it comes to cost.
If you're a great football player, why Paulding? Could you play Friday night on the high school level and then Saturday at the college level?
That's the whole world.
Good question.
Again, thank you for your support, and again, thanks for having me here today.